Hey there, Leo. Welcome to your reading for this is for, well, the camera's not on, so let's turn that on. But this is for quarter two of 2025, and we are going to be doing April, May, and June. You have this Miracles card and this Opportunities card coming up in your first row already. Definitely could be some, opportunities for a miracle. I mean, I know I've said this to you before, Leo. I think that really really all fire signs have to kind of create their own luck right now. And so to do that, you're going to have to do things that will make you lucky or that could potentially lead to luck. So, that could represent, or, maybe what you need to do is like go on adventures with the Knight of Wands. I'm a big fan of that right now because of the astrology. And so, it's kind of like about taking advantage of opportunity and just seeing where it goes. And doing that will probably increase your luck. Now, if you're just sitting at home doing nothing, then you're not going to get lucky. Like this isn't, this is luck that requires action is what I would say. And, this is pretty much true for everyone, but I feel like it's more true for fire signs. And you're actually the only fire sign to get this message in this quarter readings. So, well, I haven't done Sagittarius yet, but still, I would be looking at anything that excites you and just, moving towards it. You have the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands represents out with the old, in with the new, and it can represent kind of like stepping into new opportunity. We have this castle here that's crumbling in the background, and so it just represents out with the old, in with the new. And like I said, the Ace of Wands is usually inspiration. You also have the Eight of Wands. I feel more of a pull with that Eight of Wands. Normally, I say with the Eight of Wands that we're moving in a direction, just on a very general level. That's what the Eight of Wands represents. But it's almost like something is pulling you in. So this could be like an idea or a thought. I even think this could be an idea from another person. So, and I'm speaking about like work or business or career, or even if you're retired, I'm sure you still work on something day to day. Could be a hobby or whatever. But I feel like a person is almost giving you an idea that could be very, really good. Could lead to a lot of growth, or you could really feel inspired by the idea. So I would be paying attention to other people right now. You have the Knight of Wands, which is just like spontaneous energy. So being willing to be spontaneous, just like go do fun things. And, the other thing I'm getting is like, even if there are things that you don't like to do, I would go and do those things. And, I would go and have fun more than anything with the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands, again, he's very spontaneous, and I think because his mindset is spontaneous, that he finds opportunities because he is being spontaneous. Like he has the mindset to be able to see those things. Again, I think we have to turn our brain on, right? We have to tell our brain like, hey, I'm dealing with these problems, or I want to make more money, or I want love in my life, or whatever. And so you need to pay attention. Like I talk to my brain all the time. So I think that the Knight of Wands is encouraging you to like communicate with yourself, to talk to yourself, talk to your brain, and tell it what you're looking for. Because when you do that, then you will see it. You will see the opportunity. You have the Nine of Swords. Something definitely has to come to an end. I mean, every single reading I do for you here, Leo, it basically says that, there's kind of like an old Leo and a new Leo. And I feel like Leo needs to step into the new Leo energy. The Nine of Swords is things that are just the same. Nine of Swords is a never-ending nightmare. It is going to bed, having nightmare, waking up and being stuck in a nightmare. So this person has to get out of bed. Really, I look at this card as a card of, not allowing life to happen to you, but you happening to life. Like you taking control of your life and making things happen. And it's not necessarily easy with the Nine of Swords, but, if you get started, it's worth it. So I feel this is you. You are the one that is like starting to happen to life, if that makes sense. Like you're flipping that around. With the Ace of Wands, yes, you have the Knight of Wands. This is usually, Ace of Wands can just be a spark, just kind of a flash in the pan. It's something that happens very quickly, right? And I'm not trying to be clickbaity here or anything like that, Leo, but, there could just be like a random opportunity that pops up for you, over the next 3 months. I kind of feel like it's coming in April. And like I said, it feels like work to me, or something in business, like maybe if you have a business, you think you come up with some sort of exciting idea or whatever, and the Knight of Wands just says, just see what happens, just be willing to go on the adventure and allow it to work. With the Knight of Wands, you have the High Priestess. Yeah, everybody's had the High Priestess. We do have a ton of intuitive energy right now, especially at the beginning of the quarter. So, it's a great time to listen to your intuition. As always with you, Leo, the High Priestess, she has no roof over her head. I think that the next, several years for Leo is really going to be about you reaching your fullest potential, we'll say, right? So she has no roof over her head. And it represents the fact that, there are no limits to what she can accomplish. It's not even the sky is the limit. Like, there are no limits to what she can accomplish. The only limit is what her brain tells her she can do. So, again, I think it would be a great time to talk to your brain. But more in the sense that, there's a great book, Psycho-Cybernetics. I read it, like, at least twice a year. And, in that book, it's all about telling your brain what you're looking for. And then because you told your brain, I'm looking for these types of opportunities, you find them, right? And so I think that, kind of like talking to yourself, training your brain, reading that book would be a good one as well. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Judgment card. Yeah, it's like time to let something die. I can't believe I said that. I said, it's like there's an old Leo and a new Leo. With the Judgment card, these people are standing in their old life. The coffin that they're standing in is their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. They are being called to step into a new life. So that was like the perfect way to put it. Old Leo, new Leo. I feel like it's time for the new Leo to come out and play, right? And that's what you could be doing. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Message in a Bottle card and this Why card. I think why is a great question right now. We kind of are in a time of curiosity. So if you don't know something, or if you're being presented with a new opportunity, just research it, ask why, see what it has to offer. With the Message in a Bottle card, you do have the Eight of Wands. So if you're waiting for communication, this card just kind of says that you could be getting communication, or if you're waiting for news or communication from like a person, a place, or a thing, then you could be getting news or communication. You have the Queen of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, and the Temperance card. Queen of Pentacles is a card of resourcefulness and tapping into your resources, using your resources wisely. I really do feel that Leo's, like out of all the signs, I think Leo really wants, comfort. I think I said this to you in your mid-monthly reading for March or something like that. I get this feeling here. It's like, I don't think Leos are lazy, and that's not... So don't take this the wrong way, is what I'm trying to say, Leo. What I'm about to say, right? I'm not calling you lazy, but I do think Leos do like a certain level of comfort, right? But I said to you, I think it was in your mid-monthly readings, that, there's a saying, real lions like to hunt, right? It's like lions are considered, they kind of lay around, they're like cats, they sleep all day, they don't do much, but there is like one thing they have to do to survive. They have to hunt. And I really feel that that's what this Queen of Pentacles is saying. It's like saying, you need to discover the thing or the activity or the practice that could, bring in resources into your life, where that could allow you to be lazy, right? Or that could allow you to be very successful without much effort. And, I think that's what the Queen of Pentacles is saying. It's like there are things you could do that you are really good at, but, it's going to be like a practice. It's going to be something that you do every single day. Next, you have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, it's like Seven of Swords is asking you what's the best way to do something. Most people read Seven of Swords as lying, cheating, stealing, but it is a golden card, and golden cards in the tarot are very positive. And so, really, he is stealing these swords from an army in the background here, and so he's going to war, but in a different way. We're in a time of efficiency. I mean, Pluto in your opposite sign, Aquarius, is all about you discovering more efficient ways to work. And that's it. I would be looking at your work that you do and saying, like, is there a better way? And there probably is. I know that I've been saying this to you for years, but, it's like, people love to tell me, like, you've been saying this for years. I'm like, okay, number one, why haven't you figured it out yet? Or why haven't you done something? And also, life isn't just like doesn't happen overnight. It's like things take time to develop. So, this is probably something you've been developing for a very long ass time. And I make that clear every single reading, but, whatever. And the Seven of Swords is a process. You don't just get to stop doing this. It's like eventually, like things stop working. We can learn a great way to be successful in work or business or love life or with our health. But at a certain point, we kind of reach a point of diminishing returns, and it's our job to grow and figure out something else, right? The other trick with the Seven of Swords is taking things too seriously. So he has these polka dots on his cloak, and the card itself can say you need to be more playful with what you're experimenting with in life, or you just need to take a more playful approach to life. I always say it that it's like the most stuck I've ever been was like I was trying to make things work in my life. I was like trying really hard, and I used to say to my mom all the time, like, I'm doing all this work, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, and nothing is working. And she used to say to me all the time, it's because you're trying too hard. And that used to piss me off because I have a ton of Capricorn in my chart. So to me, if hard work equals success, plain and simple, right? But she was right. It's like when I stopped caring so much, then things started going a lot better. And the Seven of Swords kind of says that. It says, like, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, you might be doing the right things. That according to who, I have no clue. But, you might be doing the right work and stuff like that. But maybe it's not the right work for you. Or maybe you're caring too much, which is kind of creating an energy. It's like sometimes I think if we do work hard, we're basically telling the universe, I have to work hard for this to work, right? So, I think we have to be careful with how we communicate with the universe right here. Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands goes both ways. It's like traditionally, Eight of Wands was the arrows of love. You're telling the universe what you want, and the universe is responding. Traditionally, it's about love. But I believe the Eight of Wands can be the arrows of anything. We're telling the universe what we want. We're communicating through our actions, our words, pretty much everything, and the universe responds. And so, this to me is kind of like saying something else that I always say to you, Leo, which is to be careful with your words. But I would also be careful with your actions as well. You have the Temperance card. Temperance is patience. I feel like you're sick of being patient, quite honestly. I don't blame you either, Leo. I think there's a little bit more work to do. I also think that there are some things that you're kind of like sitting on. Like intuitively, if I put myself in your shoes with this Temperance card, it's like I feel like you have some things that you could just get started right now. Sometimes I feel the Temperance angel here is trying to wait for something to be perfect when he could just get off on this path and get that crown. And a lot of your readings recently have been about you reclaiming your crown. So it's like clearly it's time. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Seven of Cups. Too much time dreaming. I feel like you're going to probably feel a lot better this quarter. Today, Neptune has moved into Aries today, the day that I'm recording this video. And so by the time you watch it, it'll be in Aries. I think that Neptune and Pisces energy, very dreamy, and we can almost dream too much. We get to this point where we think about something so much, and we think about the possibilities. We think about the things that could work and the things that won't work, and we just stay in that energy because, we've thought about it too much. And so, again, I kind of feel good about this Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is much more action, or it's making, it's kind of like taking action in a direction. So I feel for a lot of you, you could finally be taking action. With the Seven of Swords, you have the Death card. Yeah, just like some sort of change. You have the Death card twice, here and here. This kind of says you need to change the way that you work, right? Which definitely is, a major theme for you right now, Leo. It has been for a couple of years. If I were a Leo, I would be, if you have a job, I would be looking at how you, or a business, I would be looking at how you can make it evolve, how you can grow it, and new things that you can do. If you don't, then I would be like learning something new that you could do. With the Temperance card, you have the World. The World is an accomplishment or achievement. You show up right here on the World card, so whenever you show up as yourself, it kind of puts you in a position of power and strength. I see a lot of movement here for you because we have the Eight of Wands again. The World alone can represent moving or traveling. With the Eight of Wands, it can represent a lot of movement. So there could be a lot of opportunity for you to like travel, move, all that other stuff. I have another message popping into my head here, Leo, as well. I'm just going to say it. If you are thinking to yourself, like, I can't do, like, I don't know how to word this correctly, but, if you have opportunities to, like, go out and have fun or travel or do something, I kind of get this feeling where you might be saying to yourself here, like, I can't do this right now because I have to, I have to make my business work, or I can't do this right now because I don't have love, or I don't have this thing in my life. I feel like this is really encouraging you to like do those things that you're saying you can't do, even though you can, right? and do it anyway, is what I feel like saying. Why is that important? I have no clue. Probably because, life is short. One day you wake up and actually you're dead, so, you might as well do it now and not wait. Next in the area messages from your future self, you have this card. It says, rebirth is assured. Death twice, judgment, definitely. You have this white raven. It says, trust in magic. Yeah, I think you need to believe that things are possible. And, believe that you can accomplish more with the High Priestess as well. Believe that you can grow as much as possible in life. And you need to believe that, things are working out for you. Maybe you need to say that to yourself, that things are always working out for me, right? One of my favorite affirmations, I think that's Esther Hicks, if I'm not mistaken. But, I think kind of developing that mindset would be very good. You have the King of Wands, the Eight of Wands, and the Two of Pentacles. King of Wands definitely could be you showing up in this position. He's sitting on his throne, but he is a king of action. He kind of represents being bold, being assertive, really making things happen in life. He's also kind of like a little bit innovative as well. I always say that the King of Wands has foresight, and so he's, we don't necessarily consider him intuitive, but he kind of is intuitive because he's very innovative as far as a king is concerned. And a lot of your new ideas might lead to a lot of success. I think that there's a long pattern, and if I were to also say, if I were to simplify this reading, I think that there is a long pattern, a long story that you've been living that you are breaking free from, maybe for your whole life, right? Maybe it's the story you've been living forever. And I think it's finally changing, but it is going to require this action of the King of Wands, you taking action towards it. You have the Eight of Wands, probably your most important card here. I don't know, this is going to be the most important card of the century for Leo right here, the Eight of Wands. I think that training your brain, like I said, would be a good activity for you right now. Watching your words, and also telling the story that you want to live, right? Even if it seems ridiculous. Maybe you say to yourself, I want to work an hour a day and make $1 million a year. I'm sure there's probably someone that does it. So, if someone can do it, you can do it. And I feel like you just need to start telling that story, whether you believe it or not. And, again, you might just be surprised what happens. Even if you get to a point where you have to work 2 hours a day and you make $1 million a year, hey, that's not bad, right? Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe you don't really get to exactly what you want, but I don't know. I wouldn't complain about that, Leo, right? So I think that this is saying things don't have to be perfect, but, if you get pretty damn close, that's pretty good, right? That would be a win in my book, so I would take it. And I would just start telling the most extreme example. If things were perfect, if everything went according to plan, what would that look like? I also feel that you are, there's a lot of movement energy here. I would encourage, adventures as well. I don't know. I just have this weird story in my head. I don't know how to explain this either, but it's I've known people in my life where it's they refuse to have fun. They have a complaint about everything. It's I've known people where I'm hey, let's go to the beach. And they're I don't like the beach. There's people there. I'm there's people everywhere. Just go and have fun. And I don't know, I get that feeling from your reading, where I'm not saying you're complaining or anything, but maybe you're I hate going to the movies. People always talk, right? But it's if someone invites you out to have a good time, you never know what else might pop up, on the adventure. And I feel there's something about that in this reading, where it's saying, the reading it's saying, it's not so much about the opportunity, right, to go see a movie or something. It's about the opportunity that exists inside those opportunities that you don't see, and that's what I would pay attention to. You have the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, work hard, play hard. You can't only work. I'm a big believer in the fun bucket, right? We have to fill our fun bucket. We can't just be working. When all you do is work, you get dull, and you just fall into a routine, and that's when we get stuck. I've done it several times in my life, so I'm speaking from experience here. You have to have fun. Two of Pentacles, like I said, is work hard, play hard. I also do feel that there could be some sort of settlement coming in from the universe. There are some cards in the tarot that I call clue cards, and the Two of Pentacles, and I only say it if I feel it, and the Two of Pentacles is a clue for me as a reader that a person could be getting a settlement. This could be something literally like a settlement, like legal settlement. But I kind of feel this is more the universe is allowing some of your work to catch up. It's allowing your work. If you've been working hard on something, you might start getting better results this quarter, or you might see, an increase in your earnings. It's kind of a little bit of a boost that I feel on this Two of Pentacles. With the King of Wands, you have the Ace of Cups. Yeah, Ace of Cups is about more flow. It's in creating more flow. Every single person, I think, has had the Ace of Cups. Every single sign has had at least 2 aces, which is crazy as well. It kind of makes sense because, this quarter, we're finally getting away from all the retrograde energy. So we can have new beginnings. We can start new things. And multiple aces is definitely a new beginning or starting something new. There is a little bit of love here, so if you want love, there could also be a new love offer. Earth stands out to me. Fire also stands out to me, but, of course, general reading could be any sign, and there could be a love offer. With the Eight of Wands, are you kidding? We have the Lovers. Okay, that changes it. So there definitely could be communication in love with the Eight of Wands. Of course, at the beginning of this quarter in April, I think that starting with communication is great. I pretty much have been saying this to everyone since Venus went retrograde. Venus goes direct on April 12th or whatever it is. And so, and then we'll be in the shadow, of course, although I don't really worry about shadows all that much. But what I would say is, taking your time and starting with communication wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing with the Lovers. With the Two of Pentacles, you have the Six of Wands. Yeah, like I said, a boost. He's being celebrated by these people around him, and he's being boosted up on this horse. He's sitting on his high horse, but he's earned the right to sit on that horse. So a lot of you could be getting, like I said, a boost from the universe. Maybe this celebration isn't really coming from people in your life. It could be, but maybe it's coming from the universe. The universe is supporting you more this quarter, or you're feeling lifted up, or you're being given a platform. It's kind of the feeling I get on that card. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Divine Intervention card. There you go. It says, angels are working behind the scenes to assist in the miracles you've requested. You start with the miracles card, you end with the miracles card. There you go. You have this, angels are watching. There's nothing to worry about. Angels are watching over you. Yes, you are being supported by the universe. I just said it with that Six of Wands. It's almost like, that's really what I felt on that Six of Wands in the Two of Pentacles, is kind of like some sort of settlement from the universe. It's like the universe is giving you a little bit of a boost, or something that makes you feel good so that you can make more progress. And that's what's going on. You have the Death card, the Six of Cups, and the Page of Pentacles. The Death card, of course, can represent a transformation or a change, and a lot of you could be experiencing some sort of transformation or change with the Death card. I also feel that a lot of you could just be, again, stepping into a much more exciting life, or it's like you're kind of thinking about that ultimate vision for your life where you only work 2 hours a day or an hour a day or whatever. And some of you could be making those changes. Believing things are possible is important with the Death card. We have this guy here. He kind of looks like a pope, and he's begging for his life. And so the Pope guy here kind of represents a change in beliefs, a change in your belief system. The Pope also represents tradition. So, again, I think people think tradition I was raised this way, so, these are traditional beliefs. But again, if we fall into a pattern in life, which, based off this reading, I kind of feel like you have, then this, the tradition could just be the pattern. And, it seems to me like you're breaking some sort of pattern that's been, I don't think it, I think it was necessary. It got you to where you are today, but now it's time to grow, is what the reading is saying. You have the Six of Cups. Yeah, if you are attracting a connection, I would be more playful. I think sometimes people take this the wrong way, when I say playful, as in I'm saying, they're not serious. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think you could be attracting a very serious person, but, again, I would just take a more playful approach to the connection. And doing that would probably be good, although it's showing up in the good stuff. So, it could just be a very fun, playful connection that's coming in for you. The Six of Cups and the good stuff can also represent a gift from the universe, and it could be the gift of miracles, because you have 2 miracle cards here. You have this Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is also a communication. Most people look at Knights as communication, but I also look at the Page of Pentacles as a messenger. So again, if you're looking for love, you definitely could be communicating with a new person. With the Death card, you have the Hangman. Answers, the answers you need. The Hangman has been on pause. But his head is glowing. He's gained enlightenment. Now he's getting the answers he needs to be successful. So I feel a lot of you could finally be getting the answers you need to be successful with doing whatever it is you're doing. So I love to see that. With the Six of Cups, you have the Nine of Cups. Yes, wish fulfillment, definitely in the good stuff. I always say, outside of the good stuff, I feel that the Nine of Cups is, we really have to be in alignment, which the reading kind of says that. It says you have to develop that mindset to be able to manifest or get what you want. But in the good stuff, the Nine of Cups definitely represents getting something you are wishing for. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Pentacles, which is progress, but it's like slow, steady progress. So again, if you're attracting love going in this direction, it could be a Capricorn as well. But if you're attracting love, this could be something that is like slow, steady, but that's probably a good thing in this, especially at this time. But the Knight of Pentacles, normally I say he's a knight that isn't making any moves. He's just standing there. And in the good stuff, he represents progress. So I think you are like making progress with a person. You have this choice card. The Lovers was traditionally called the choice. So, there definitely could be a choice that you have. I think the choice is simple. You can keep doing what you've been doing all along, or you can do something new with your life. And I think new would be fun and exciting, Leo. Next, you have this practicality card. Yeah, keep it simple, right? Don't overcomplicate things. I think that, sometimes we want to grow in life, and so we think we have to be more complicated, but really, it's like really just being more simple is sometimes the answer, right? Just doing what works. And that's definitely what popping into my head with that card. You have this friendship card. I do feel like some of you could start as friends with a person. It's kind of like a weird feeling that I get on this card, where it's like if you're talking, let's say you're talking to a person or whatever, or, let's say you have talked to a person already that you're interested in. It's like I feel you holding back in this connection, or someone. Maybe both people are holding back. It's like maybe you have both almost said something to each other, but you just haven't yet. But I don't know. I feel like that'll change. You have this flattery card, yes. See, this is like two people who are not looking at each other, and then these two people are looking at each other, but it's like in the head. See how it's inside their head? So I'm telling you right now, I saw that with the friendship card, that it's like two people who are talking to each other. Some of you, I think, are talking to this person right now, or maybe you have talked to this person before. And it's like both people are looking at each other in their head, but it's like right now, maybe you're just friends. For some of you, I feel like this will happen, where it's like you will meet a person, maybe you start just talking, or you just start out as friends, and then, but there's kind of like more below the surface, for sure. Could be a Gemini as well. You have this submission card. Yes, it wouldn't be a Leo reading. Are you kidding me? This is like my Eight of Swords card. There's this bird in this cage, but the cage door is open, right? So I feel it's time to escape the cage here, Leo. I think it's time for you to like bust out of some limitation, and the reading really talks about it. So there you go. I like this reading for you here, Leo. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your quarter.